In most U.S. states, disconnecting from the power grid is illegal, even if you generate every watt yourself, even if you owe nothing, even if your panels and batteries can power your home for decades. Florida took a woman to court for it. 2014, Cape Coral. Her name was Robin Speronis. She lived entirely off-grid inside city limits. Code enforcement hauled her before a magistrate, not because her home was unsafe, because she wasn't connected. Your city probably has the same law on its books right now. The average American household pays over $1,800 a year in electricity, roughly $170 a month. That number goes up every single year. A code-compliant hybrid solar system with battery backup can drop that to nearly zero. Materials cost under $6,000. The utility company keeps collecting a connection fee either way. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which laws apply in your state, 3 legal system configurations that pass inspection, and how to build the one that fits your budget. If you're the kind of person who reads the actual regulation before believing what someone tells you about it, you're in the right place. That's what this channel is about. We don't speculate. We pull the statute, we read the code, we check what the Utility Commission actually ruled, then we build accordingly. If that sounds useful, subscribe. Not because I need the numbers, because the next time someone tells you what you can't do with your own property, you'll want the research already in your feed. We're growing fast, and there's a reason. People are tired of being told to trust the system without being shown the paperwork. Let's start with the history most people have never heard. In the 1930s, most rural American homes had no electricity. The Rural Electrification Act of 1935 changed that. The federal government subsidized the construction of power lines into areas where private utilities refused to build because there was no profit in it. This was a genuine public good. Families got refrigeration. Hospitals got reliable power. Schools got lights. To make the economics work, mandatory connection laws were written into municipal codes. If the grid reached your property, you were required to connect. This made sense at the time. Public health depended on it. Sanitation systems needed power. Water treatment needed power. The requirements were reasonable, but the laws never went away. By the 1970s, the grid was everywhere. The original justification had expired, but the mandatory connection requirements stayed on the books, and something else happened. The Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act of 1978, known as PURPA, required utilities to buy power from small generators. That was the first legal crack in the monopoly. Utilities didn't like it. They spent the next 4 decades trying to seal it shut. Fast forward to the 2000s. Rooftop solar started getting cheap. Homeowners began generating their own electricity and selling the surplus back through net metering. Utilities pushed back hard. Nevada gutted its net metering policy in 2015. Rooftop solar installations in the state dropped by more than 90% almost overnight. Public outrage eventually forced a partial reversal, but the damage was done. Installers had left the state. Jobs were gone. California followed a different path with the same result. NEM 3.0 took effect in April of 2023. It slashed the value of exported solar electricity by roughly 75%. The stated reason was grid equity. The practical effect was that the financial incentive to go solar dropped dramatically. Then there's the Speronis case. Robin Speronis wasn't hurting anyone. Her home was functional. She had water collection. She had solar power. She had composting waste systems. The city of Cape Coral cited her under the International Property Maintenance Code, Section 604.2. That section requires electrical service as a condition of occupancy, not electrical function. Electrical service, meaning a connection to the grid. A magistrate found her in violation, not because her lights didn't work, because the wire from the street didn't run to her panel. That code is adopted in thousands of municipalities across the country: Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada. Each has a different restriction profile. But the underlying pattern is the same. The law doesn't require that your home have power. It requires that you buy power from them. So the laws exist. The question is, what exactly do they require? Because there's a gap between what people think is illegal and what actually is. Everything you need to build your first system is in this video. Every component, every wire gauge, every calculation. But I've spent months compiling the deeper layer. State-by-state legal guides for 42 states, permit-ready wiring diagrams, inspector-friendly documentation templates, a component sourcing list updated quarterly. That's all in the vault. Link is in the description. No fluff, just the research organized so you can act on it. If you want to go deeper after this video, it's there. But stay here, because what comes next is the technical proof that the industry doesn't want you to understand. Now let's talk about why the technology that makes all this possible has gotten so good that the laws can't keep up. The National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, has been tracking solar panel degradation for decades. Modern panels lose less than 0.5% of their output per year. That means after 25 years, A panel is still producing 87% or more of its original rated power. 25 years. That's not a projection. That's measured data from panels in the field right now. The battery side is equally mature. Lithium iron phosphate batteries, called LiFePO4, deliver between 3,000 and 5,000 charge cycles at 80% depth of discharge. Round-trip efficiency sits between 95 and 98%. That means for every kilowatt hour you put in, you get back 95 to 98% of it. And unlike other lithium chemistries, LiFePO4 is thermally stable. It doesn't contain cobalt. It doesn't catch fire under normal conditions. This is the chemistry you want in your garage. The Department of Energy's Solar Energy Technologies Office has tracked the cost curve. In the year 2000, residential solar cost over $12 per watt installed. Today, it's under $3 per watt. That's a 75% drop in 25 years. The technology isn't experimental. It's commodity hardware. Here's the distinction that matters legally. There are 3 system types. Grid-tied means your panels feed the grid and you draw from it. No battery, no backup. If the grid goes down, you go dark too. Grid-tied with battery backup means you maintain your grid connection, satisfying mandatory connection laws, but you also have batteries that keep your home running during outages. You reduce your bill to near zero while staying legally compliant. Fully off-grid means no grid connection at all. This is only legal where local codes permit it. In many municipalities, it's not. The second option is the legal sweet spot. You maintain the connection the law requires. You just barely use it. So the technology is proven, the prices have collapsed. Why aren't more people doing this? Follow the money. The U.S. residential electricity market generates approximately $170 billion annually. That's recurring revenue, every month, every household. The average home sends over $1,800 a year to the utility. A DIY grid-tied system with battery backup costs between $4,000 and $8,000 in materials, depending on size. The payback period is 2.5 to 5 years. After that, your electricity cost approaches zero. But here's the part that should make you pay attention. Even if you generate every watt you consume, most utilities still charge a connection fee, $10 to $35 a month depending on your jurisdiction. Some call it a demand charge. Others call it a minimum bill or a standby charge. You are paying for the privilege of being connected to a wire you don't use. When California restructured net metering with NEM 3.0, the economics shifted overnight. Homeowners who had been selling surplus power at retail rates suddenly received a fraction of that value. The policy was written with utility input. The utilities trade groups lobbied for it publicly. This isn't speculation. The filings are public record. Think about why. A solar panel can't be patented. Sunlight can't be metered. The components are commodity hardware available from dozens of manufacturers. Or every self-sufficient household removes $1,800 or more per year permanently from a utility's revenue. That's not a one-time loss. That's a subscription cancellation that never comes back. For companies reporting quarterly earnings to shareholders, that math is existential. Duke Energy, Southern Company, Pacific Gas, and Electric. Combined U.S. electricity distribution revenue sits around $400 billion. These aren't small operations fighting for survival. They're monopolies, fighting to preserve a business model. If you're finding this useful, subscribe. We research the regulations so you don't have to. More importantly, share this with someone who's been told they can't do this. Because most of what people believe about solar legality is wrong, and the correction matters. And now I want to be honest about what this can and can't do. Solar is intermittent. That's a fact. Cloud cover reduces output. At northern latitudes, winter production drops 40 to 60% compared to summer. If you live in Michigan, your December output will look nothing like your July output. This is real, and your system design has to account for it. Battery storage adds cost and complexity. A fully off-grid system requires significant oversizing to handle winter reliability. That means more panels, more batteries, and more money. Permitting and inspection add time and cost. Depending on your jurisdiction, the permit process can take weeks. Inspectors will check your work. Not every roof works. South-facing orientation at a reasonable pitch is ideal. Heavy shade from trees or neighboring structures can disqualify sections of your roof entirely. HOA restrictions exist in some communities, though many states have solar access laws that override them. And here's the one I need you to hear clearly. Electrical work can kill you. This is not a casual weekend project if you don't have education. DC circuits from solar panels are especially dangerous because they don't have a zero crossing point like AC power does. An arc from a DC system won't self-extinguish. If you don't understand what that means, learn before you build. Take a course. Work with a licensed electrician on your first install. The savings aren't worth anything if you're dead. Some municipalities genuinely will not issue an occupancy permit without grid connection. If you're in one of those areas, the grid-tied with battery backup approach is your path, not the off-grid fantasy, the legal reality. Here's what you can build that's legal in most jurisdictions, passes inspection, and actually works. Tier 1, the starter system, $1,500 to $2,500. 4 100-watt portable solar panels, a 2 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery unit, a pure sine wave inverter. This is not a permanent installation. It requires no permits because nothing is fixed to the structure. You roll it out, you plug in essentials, and you have power when the grid fails. Refrigerator, lights, phone charging, a small fan. It won't run your air conditioning. It will keep your food from spoiling and your family informed. Tier 2, grid-tied with battery backup, $4,000 to $8,000. A permanently installed panel array between 2 and 6 kilowatts, a hybrid inverter with an automatic transfer switch, a battery bank sized to your daily consumption. This system requires an electrical permit. You pull it from your local building department. An inspector will verify the installation before it goes live. This is the legal sweet spot. You maintain your grid connection. You satisfy mandatory connection laws, but your meter barely moves. Your battery charges during the day and powers your home at night. When the grid goes down, the transfer switch isolates your home and your battery keeps everything running. To size this correctly, calculate your daily consumption in kilowatt hours. Divide by the depth of discharge you're willing to use, typically 80% for LIFEP04. All multiply by the number of days of autonomy you want, usually 1 to 2 for grid-tied backup. That gives you your battery bank size. For the inverter, take your total expected load in watts and multiply by 1.25. That's your minimum inverter rating. Wire gauge depends on amperage and run length. For most residential runs under 50 feet at 30 amps, 10-gauge wire is standard. Longer runs or higher amperage require thicker wire. Check the National Electrical Code tables. They're free online. Tier 3, full off-grid, $12,000 to $25,000. This is only viable where local codes permit disconnection. You need an oversized array, a large battery bank, a backup generator for extended cloudy periods, and careful load management. Every appliance matters. Every watt counts. This path requires serious planning and usually professional consultation for the initial design. Let me put this whole picture together. You started this video learning that laws exist in most states requiring grid connection. Laws written decades ago for reasons that no longer apply. You learned who benefits from those laws, and it isn't you. You saw that the technology is proven, peer-reviewed, and cheaper than it has ever been. The Department of Energy's own data confirms it. NREL's own testing confirms it. And you now know 3 specific system configurations you can build with exact components, at exact price points, with a clear legal path. You don't have to go fully off-grid to take back control of your energy. A grid-tied battery backup system is legal nearly everywhere, pays for itself in 3 to 5 years, and means the next time the power goes out, your lights stay on. Check the database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency at dsireuso.org. Punch in your zip code. See what rebates and credits apply in your state. Some of you will find that federal and state incentives cover 30 to 40% of your system cost. That changes the math dramatically. Next video, we're covering water independence. Same approach, same research depth. What's legal, what works, and what the municipal codes actually say about rainwater collection and well rights. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The grid isn't going anywhere, but your dependence on it can